Welcome to Bumble Stitches podcast. This is episode 22. My name's Nicola and you can find me on Instagram as Bumble Stitches. You can find me on Ravelry as Bumble Stitches, where we also have a podcast group called the Bumble Stitches Podcast Group with details of all the knit-alongs and giveaways and things like that. And I'm also on Etsy with my Bumble Stitches store. Thank you ever so much for coming back to join me if you're a returning viewer. And if you're checking me out for the first time, thank you. I hope you like the podcast. And to all those people that have subscribed recently, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I have noticed a few more of you clicking on the subscribe button. So that's very much appreciated. It's Sunday, the 11th of March, and it's Mother's Day here in the UK. And I've had a very nice day today, been thoroughly spoilt. My mum's visited and also my daughter. So we've had the two mums in the house and had a really, really nice day. So it's a little bit later in the afternoon, so the light isn't fab, but I did want to get a podcast recorded today as I have the winner of the February old and new cowl to be announced, and also the winner of the Cyril socks pattern giveaway that's been donated to the podcast by Danny of Little Bobbins. I'm going to get started though with some finished objects. I only have 2 to share this week, but I'm quite pleased with them, so I'll get on and share those straight away for you. The first one is my Wildflower Hill shawl that I showed as a whip last time on the podcast, which was I think 2 weeks ago. And I was really keen to get this done, and it is completed and has been blocked now. I don't know if I can get it all in the frame. It's quite big, sort of an asymmetrical triangle, and you can see sort of like the stripes and then into the lacework section in the middle. And I particularly like on this shawl the edge detail, just the way it goes into this sort of band here and then to the edges. I think it gives a really nice finish to it. This is a pattern by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade, and it was a free pattern and yarn that was given to all of the attendees at one of the previous country house retreats that Helen and Meta run up in Cumbria. So I really did want to get this one complete because it's such a nice pattern, and this is knitted in the Fibre Company Aramore light yarn, and you can see how lovely and drapey it is now. When I was knitting it, there's a rogue one of my hairs there. When I was knitting it, it had quite a it's a very textured yarn and felt a little bit not rough, but I wasn't 100% sure of how it's going to feel once it was finished and blocked. But it is completely transformed. It's soft and drapey. I'm really, really pleased with it. And I think with this being quite muted colours, the dark sort of flannel grey almost, and the blue, I'll just hold that up a bit closer so you can see the colours there. There are little flecks of sort of purples and sort of like heathered shades in the blue. I think it will be a nice one to leave. I'm going to take it into my office at work and leave it there. It does get quite chilly in there with the air conditioning, and people are always arguing about the temperature in our office, so I often get chilly while I'm there, and I think this would be a nice one to take in and leave, so that I've always got something that I can either put over my lap, because sometimes my legs get cold at work, or around my shoulders, and will go with most sort of workwear items and not be too colourful, so a bit more sort of suitable for work, sort of office work use. So it's quite a substantial size, really, really warm. I'll just show you the pattern. I did show this last time. That's the image on the pattern there, and it was gorgeous in this colourway. As I mentioned, this yarn was the Fibre Company support the country house retreat, and they provided the yarn for the pattern. So it's the Fibre Company Aramore Light and it's a really interesting mix or blend of yarn. It's 80% wool, 10% silk and 10% cashmere, made in the Republic of Ireland. It's a really, really lovely yarn to knit with. It knitted up really, really quickly. I think it was a 5mm needle that I used, so this was quite a quick, satisfying knit. So if you get the chance to knit with that yarn, I would definitely recommend it because it does block up beautifully. So that's my first finished object. So I can wear it now and take it into, I'm in the office tomorrow, so I should take that in now that I've shared it on the podcast and get some use out of it. It's super light as well. It's just, you know, it's going to be so easy just to pop in a bag. It's, you know, they feel like there's nothing to it, and yet the warmth of it is really, really lovely. Okay. So my next finished object is my entry, if you like, for my own knit along, which is the old and new cowl, which involves using existing yarn from your stash, which is the old part of the cowl, and the new part being a pattern that you haven't knitted before. So for February, I knitted the All Is Calm socks by Kay Jones, and I have completed them. Pop them on the blockers, they've been blocked. And I knitted these using one of the first indie dyed skeins, I think probably the first indie dyed skeins of yarn from my stash, which is a Nora George yarn, and that is in one of the Harry Potter colourways, which is Fleur de la Cour. I'll just pop one of these down so I can show you. And the pattern is sort of like a ribbed based pattern, but with sort of like some eyelet details to form a bit of a lacy design, with a heel flap and gusset, and just down to a normal rounded toe. And I knitted these on 2.5mm needles. I think I've finally found my ideal sort of recipe for socks to fit me and be comfortable, which is, I've experimented with doing a 72 stitch count, but that invariably gets a little bit baggy in sort of once you start wearing them. So 64 stitches on a 2.5mm needle seems to be about right for me. So that's what I've done these in, and they fit really, really well, and they're really cosy. It was a nice intuitive knit. The pattern was quite easy to memorise as you were knitting, and I was pleased to get them done. I did actually finish them just before the end of Feb. Obviously I don't qualify for prizes in my own knit along, but I did want to try and get them done within that month, so that I felt, you know, that I was taking full part in my own knit along, which is it's probably a good idea to do that. So that's my second finished object, and again I'm looking forward to using these now that I've shared them with you. So that was the All Is Calm socks by Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears podcast. And the knit along that I just mentioned, the old and new cowl, is running through the rest of the year, and each month I'm popping a thread into the Ravelry group for your finished objects, and there is a chatter thread which I'm going to leave running for the whole year, so it doesn't lose any sort of momentum, so you can just carry on chatting and sharing your projects that you're working on. So do please, if you want to play along, join in with the chatter, pop your finished objects into the relevant thread. Obviously February has been locked down now, and I do have a winner to announce during the podcast today. But March's finished object thread is open. There's already a couple of lovely items in there. So please do pop yours in there too. Yes, and it's just really good fun, and it's nice to get some of that stash used up, try some new patterns, and just share what we're all doing. I think it's just, you know, makes a really nice sort of community sort of affair out of it. Okay, I'm going to have a little chat now about my works in progress, which aren't, I don't have a huge amount of works in progress on the go, but a couple of things that weren't in progress last time I podcast. The first one I think I will share is some baby knitting that I'm doing, and this is for my daughter's best friend is having a baby in April, and we know she's having a little boy, and she wanted to go more for neutral colours rather than blues. So I'm knitting here, this is the, what's it called? What's the pattern here? It's the Norwegian Fur top-down cardigan by Oge Knitwear Designs. It's a paid-for pattern on Ravelry. It's a really lovely pattern, and it comes in a huge range of sizes, right up to, well, the first part of the printout gives you 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 and 6 to 12, and then 12 to 18 months. And the second part of the pattern, I think it goes up to about 4 or 5 years, so quite a range of sizes. And I'm knitting this in John Arbon Knit by Numbers DK that I bought at Unravel a few weeks ago. But I think it's given a really lovely, obviously this isn't blocked yet, but the fur pattern, the Norwegian fur pattern, which sort of forms the raglan, is really, really pretty. And this yarn has given really great stitch definition, so I'm really pleased with the way it's looking. And obviously that goes across the back. You can see this this sleeve is still on waste yarn, but I have picked up and haven't got very far to go on this sleeve here. So it's a really, really nice knit, just a little plain garter stitch at the front. Really, really simple, and this yarn is so bouncy and squishy. I think it's going to be really lovely when it's all complete, and perfect for a little baby jacket or cardigan. I mean, the baby's going to be born in April, so weather will be a little bit warmer, but this over the top of whatever the baby's wearing, little baby grows, or, you know, those sort of like long sleeve cotton things, I think will be just the right amount of warmth. So I'm really, really pleased with this, and it's nice to do something so tiny that knits up so quickly. It's nice sort of gratification. So that's my first work in progress, and it's nice to be getting some of the yarn that I bought at Unravel on the needles and knitted. That's the yarn in the skein, and the colourway of this one, I believe, I'll just double check it. It's KBN 12 DK. I bought 2 skeins of that while I was at Unravel for the cardigan, and also to make, sorry my back to the camera, and also to make a little hat. And this little hat here is the dough cap, which is a pattern by Jenny Gordy, I believe. I think it's adorable. It's so tiny, as you can see, it sort of just about fits on my hand here, and it's a proper little sort of baby bonnet style, splits at the back, and with the I-cord ties. Really, really pretty. But where this hat comes into its own and goes into complete cuteness overload is when you attach the ears. Now I've only got one ear knitted so far, but I believe they will then be stitched on at either side. I'm going to show you the picture in the magazine. I did share this before. I'm just going to show you the image. Yeah, Jenny Gordy, and it's the dough cap. So you can see, obviously, you know, a bigger child here. You can see the way the little ears sit down. I do like the hats. There's a lot of knitted hat patterns where the ears are sort of more on top, like sort of teddy bear ears, but I think this is particularly sweet, this one. So I just need to get the other ear finished and get that sewn onto the hat, and that one will be done. So the 2 skeins of yarn that I bought at Unravel are going to be more than enough to have knit this. I mean, these are the first sizes. You can see how tiny this little hat is, but it's been plenty to knit the hat and the cardigan. So really, really pleased about that. And Lou's, she just can't wait to give it to her friend. I had to learn a bit of a new technique with this. I've done an I-cord bind off before, but I'd never actually just knitted an I-cord. And it's one of those moments where I searched on YouTube for a tutorial, and found one by Very Pink Knits, which I often go to for tutorials because everything she does is really, really clear to understand. And it was literally a duh moment, because if you haven't knit an I-cord before, please don't worry about it, because it is the most simple thing ever, and it produces such a neat finish. So I did the knitted the I-cord and did little knots at the end, and then I got all really confused. It said to join the I-cord, pick up a stitch around the bottom of the hat and sort of knit the I-cord on and all around the bottom of the hat. So yeah, but I'm pleased I looked it all up and did that, because it's another technique that I've learned, and it does give a really, really nice finish to the hat. So yeah, so just another ear to go. But that was a bit fiddly because I'm not really very good on DPNs, are not my thing really. I'm a bit, feel like I'm wrestling with an octopus when I'm knitting on DPNs. But I thought it would probably be even more fiddly on Magic Loop because it is quite tiny. So I just need to knuckle down this evening, maybe get the other ear knitted and get it sewn onto the hat, in case that baby makes a surprise appearance, because I think he's due on the 3rd of April. So yeah, that really could happen at any time now, I guess. So that's my first work in progress. So there's 2 items in there, but so the next thing I wanted to share with you was also an Unravel purchase, and that was the yarn that I bought for the Isabel Kramer A Girl's Best Friend shawl. And that's living here in my fringe supply bag, which is getting very full of enamel pins. I do have some more on the way, so I'll start having a decision about what's going to happen with all these pins. This is the pattern, Isabel Kramer A Girl's Best Friend. So it's a 3-colour triangular shawl, and I particularly like the textured sections, and there's some bobbles knitted into this section here, and also the pom-pom trim at the end. I thought that was a really nice design, really pretty. So I shared the yarns that I chose last time on the podcast. I will just show them to you again. These 2 are by Hillview Farm, and this is their Blueface Leicester blend. The top one is Punch and the second one is Hickory colourway. And this here is a Fine Fish Yarns in the Heartstrings colourway. So those are my 3 yarns. And so far I'm still on the first section in the Punch colourway. But I'm really enjoying knitting this. It's a nice, it's got enough going on to keep your interest there with the sort of textured sections, even though it's one colour section, it's got textures within it. So the interest is there, but it's also nice and straightforward, that it's great for sort of TV knitting and not having to put an awful lot of concentration into it. So you can see the way the stitch pattern is working up there. So really, really enjoying that. I shouldn't really have cast it on until I'd got the baby knits done, but I just couldn't resist. The yarn was calling to me. I just needed something nice and sort of straightforward to just do while I'm watching podcasts or watching Netflix on my iPad or TV or whatever it might be. So I'm just itching to get to the next colour section now, which I think will be a hickory stripe in the brown, and then it goes to the main pattern section in the, which I'm going to use my Fine Fish yarns for. So really, really pleased with that. Got my little progress keeper on here from Clementine Taco on Etsy. It's a little frosted strawberry donut. Really, really cute. It goes nicely with my yarn too. So yes, it's another completely new whip that I'm really, really enjoying doing. But I really am itching to get a sweater cast on. I don't have any garments on the needles at the moment, and it's been a long while since I haven't had a garment on the needles. So yeah, I think in the next couple of days, certainly as soon as I finish the Norwegian fur cardigan for the baby, that I will be getting something cast on for myself garment wise. I am wearing my So Faded sweater that I shared last week as a finished object. Just popped this on today. I won't talk about it again because I have mentioned it a couple of times on the podcast, but it's just super comfy. I really enjoy wearing it. Okay, so we mentioned what have I mentioned? I've completely lost my train of thought. Okay, I do still have a couple of whips that I haven't spoken about, and not really much has happened, so I'm not going to go into any great detail. But I'm just going to very quickly show you the progress that I've made on my Cyril socks. So you may remember I had completed the first sock, which is here, which hasn't been blocked, but I popped it on the blocker just so that you can see the stitch pattern a little bit clearer. So that one is done, and I'm not very far away from starting the heel flap on the second sock. And the reason that I wanted to mention the Cyril socks again, I'm just going to grab the pattern out, and this is obviously a pattern by Danny of Little Bobbins. Just trying to find the front. I bet you can't guess who really didn't have enough time to prepare for the podcast today, so apologies. Just trying to find the main picture here to show you. Yes, as I said, it's a pattern by Danny of Little Bobbins. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. And Danny, that's the completed socks there, the Cyril socks. And Danny has very kindly, she donated a copy of her pattern to our podcast to be given away. So I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when I did the last podcast, and started a thread in the Ravelry group asking you all to tell me a little bit about a special man in your family. Obviously, because these are the Cyril socks, and the whole story is that it's an inscription on a ring, and Danny's been sort of imagining what would have happened to the lives of Cyril and Rita, the people inscribed on her ring. So I thought it would be nice to think about some men in our families, and I really enjoyed reading the posts in that thread. There was some really quite touching and lovely posts about dads and granddads and sons and husbands. So thank you everybody that entered the giveaway, and I do have a winner to announce. I just need to check my notes to make sure I get it right. Now, I did random.org before I did the podcast because I know that I would just totally trying to do it live would be ending disaster for me. So I did go to random.org and do a random generator, and there were 12 posts in the thread, and obviously the first one was mine, so I ran it from number 2 to number 12, and the winner of the Cyril socks pattern is post number 9, which is Angelic Embers is your Ravelry name, and that is Nicole from New Jersey in the United States. So congratulations, Nicole, you've won a copy of the Cyril socks pattern. I will get in touch with Danny and give her your Ravelry name so that she can send a copy of the pattern onto you. And you told us a little bit about your son, I believe, which was really, really touching, and especially seen as today in the UK as Mother's Day, very, very fitting. So well done. Thank you for entering and for everyone that entered, and I'll make sure that pattern finds its way to you. Okay, while we're in giveaway mode, there's also the Old and New Cowl February prize to be drawn. And you may remember last time I showed you the prize, which is a skein of this gorgeous Circus Tonic handmade DK yarn in the Tchaikovsky colourway. This is the Pageant DK Twist, which is 100% extra fine superwash merino, super squishy, lovely grey with little speckles of magenta and very dark grey and blue in there. Lovely, lovely yarn. And this beautiful Progress Keeper from Eva Faith on Etsy, which is a little cork stoppered glass bottle with little tiny red heart sequins in, which I thought was nice because February being the month of Valentine's Day. So let's find out who's won these. Again, I did do this before the podcast. So we had 9 posts in the February finished object thread, and you all did amazingly well. You used some really old yarn, was used from Stash, which is amazing, and I'm sure you will feel really, really good about that. I popped in from post 2 to 9, because obviously my post was the first one, and Random Generator gave us post number 3, which is yarn mugs, which is Sarah. Congratulations. And you have knitted a pair of Hermione's Everyday Socks, which look amazing, and from memory I think you did them with contrast cuffs and toes and possibly heels as well, and they look fab. So congratulations to you, Sarah. I will drop you a message on Ravelry to let you know you've won and to get your address so that I can send your prize on to you as soon as possible. So congratulations to you. Now, while we're talking about prizes and the knit along, I did ask on the last podcast if there was anybody that would like to donate prizes, and I felt a little bit awkward about that, but I needn't have, because I was contacted by some lovely, lovely dyers and makers and podcast viewers offering to donate prizes to our knit along this year. So thank you everybody that did that. That was just amazing, very, very kind, very generous, and I'm just delighted that you want to support the podcast. Now, one thing that I would like to show you first of all, and this has been sent to the podcast by Leslie of Duckpool Lane on Etsy. I can turn that around so you can see her card there, her details, and she has sent this beautiful project bag to go in the prize pile for the knit along, and you can see it's stunning. It's in this beautiful soft duck egg blue, plain at the bottom, with this lovely print at the top in sort of natural and duck egg, same on the reverse, and it's a linen fabric at the top. It's got lovely little crossed hearts. I don't know if it's removable. Yeah, I think it's like a little progress keeper type finding at the top of this little charm, so you could keep it as a zip pull on the bag, or take it off and use it as a progress keeper on your knitting. And it's also got a lovely little strap here on a metal finding as well. It's beautifully made. I'm not going to take it out of the bag because it is all protected in there and pristine, and her little label there at the bottom, Duckpool Lane. So thank you, Leslie, for sending that. Just really, really blown away by how beautiful this bag is, and that you'd send it to us as a giveaway. So that is amazing. So this will be the prize for the March knit along prize. So do keep popping your FOs in that thread, and you could be the winner of this lovely bag when we draw that after the end of March. I've also been contacted by a couple of lovely yarn dyers, so there will be a couple of skeins of yarn on the way as well for the prize fund, and also a lovely viewer which is Kelly June on Ravelry. Hi Kelly June, thank you ever so much for your offer. Kelly June has offered to donate a pattern from Ravelry up to the value of $10 US, which is very, very generous, and I think will cover a vast amount of patterns that are available on Ravelry. And Kelly June's in Colorado, so thank you very much, Kelly June. So that's in the prize pile, as it were, as well. So we have got some lovely things available and on the way, and of course Leslie's lovely bag for March. Okay, now while we're still in kind of that giveaway and prizey mode, this is a bit of an odd one. You may remember a few podcasts back I shared this pattern, which is the Pinwheel mitts from Loop, London, and this is a pattern that I bought actually sort of in person in the store, so it hasn't been printed by me. This was just bought in person. I don't have it digitally at all. And you can see these are beautiful colourwork mitts, fingerless mitts. And I won't open the inside because it shows too much of the chart and instructions and stuff like that, but all the instructions in the chart are inside. Now, when I went into Loop, I bought the yarn to make these mitts. They didn't have this colourway, so I did choose another colourway, which is the rose and charcoal. And these are both Isabel Highland wool, and they are 100% wool, 50-gram balls each, and yeah, that's it. One's charcoal and one's rose. I cast these on and did the rib and did probably 1 and a bit repeats of the pattern, and I'm not sure if it was me, if it was, I don't know, it wasn't really working for me, so I did sort of try to persevere with them. But I think that life's too short, and certainly time for doing the things you love is also too short, so I need to be doing things that are working for me when I do have my knitting and crafting time. So I did abandon them. The yarn that I frogged from the existing mitt was in a little bit of a tangle, and I got a bit cross, and I did just in the end chop it off. There is heaps on here. The pattern actually states that if you use one colour as the main colour in the first pair and then reverse it and use the other colour as the main colour, you can get a second pair of mitts from the 2 balls of this with that pattern. So I'm 100% confident that there is still more than enough here to knit a pair of the Pinwheel mitts. So I'm going to offer these as a giveaway. If anybody would like to knit the Pinwheel mitts, I will offer the pattern. As I said, I don't have it digitally, so this isn't sort of sharing the pattern, it's been paid for, and also the yarn to make them. So I'll pop a thread in the Ravelry group, and you can answer. I'll put a little prompt there, probably just to say, you know, why you particularly fancy knitting these. Just tell me why. I'll get random generator to pluck a number out on the next podcast, or just before the next podcast, and then I'll send you the yarn and the pattern, because it's too pretty just to leave in stash. The pattern's too nice just to leave on my bookshelf. You know, it would be nice if somebody had the pleasure of knitting them. So I'll pop that in the Ravelry group. Okay, I would like to share a few acquisitions with you now. I'm sorry if I've been a bit rushed in this podcast. I feel like I've been rushing a little bit, I think because it's been a busy day and it's getting towards the end of the day, so I feel like I need to get everything done and sort of get ready for relaxing on Sunday evening. I would like to share with you some things that I have acquired in the last couple of weeks since I saw you. Couple of which I had acquired quite a while ago and just sort of popped on my shelf with all my other yarn and forgot to share, so I'll do that now. The first one is a skein of yarn that my lovely friend Polly of Paper Stories gave me as a gift when I met up with her recently. Her yarn dyeing is amazing. She's so talented, and this is a skein of her 4-ply 75/25 superwash merino nylon sock weight yarn in the Pankhurst colourway, named after Emily Pankhurst. So particularly apt for the sort of time of year. We've had International Women's Day a few days ago. It's Mother's Day today, so you know it's all about the women. And this is a stunning dyed skein of yarn with all the purples and greens. It's absolutely beautiful. So I shall look forward to knitting that, probably into a nice pair of socks. So that was a gift skein, which is always lovely to get a skein of yarn from a yarn dyeing friend. So thank you for that, Polly. The next thing I wanted to share is a beautiful, beautiful little kit that I got from Amy of Little Tailoress. There's a bit of rustling involved here because I've been really super good. Now this little selection of beautifulness is from Amy's. So I'm just peering into my little bucket here because I'm trying to find. It's the Waitress Sock Club. It's a 3-month sock club based on or inspired by the film The Waitress. And this is Marshmallow Mermaid Pie. So you can see this yarn here is just absolutely stunning. It looks sugary and sweet and good enough to eat. It really, really does. And this gorgeous little mini skein too, which is a 20 gram mini. This is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And it's just, I don't know how she does it. It's amazing. Just such a pretty sock set. And you can see, I popped these down because they were rustling a bit. So the kit came with the marshmallows in all the different colours, which are gorgeous. And then, amazingly, the Progress Keeper here, which is a real glass, if you can hear that, glass bottle with a cork stopper, has got little miniature replica marshmallows in it. So I think it's so pretty, such a cool idea, and almost too good to use. It's just really enjoyed looking at it. I'm not sure I want to knit it up. I'm sure it will make equally gorgeous socks. So that came a little while ago and I had sort of popped it away and forgotten about it. Another thing that I forgot about is this skein of yarn that I ordered on Etsy. Not a million miles away from this, I'm guessing, but this one's got a few more sort of like neon shades in. And this is from Tot Le Matin Yarns. I'm going to find the card. Oh, it isn't, the name isn't on there. Got this super cute card. Merci. The dyer behind that is L'Oreal. And if I'm murdering the name of your company, Tot Le Matin, I think when the accent's over the O in the middle, you pronounce the T, is that right? Oh gosh, it's such a long time since I did French at school, and even then it wasn't great for me. But this is called Manège, this colourway. And it's absolutely beautiful. The speckles are just quite spectacular, all the blues. Some neons here. Chartreuse-y sort of mix with neon. And then just the sort of washes of blue and pink and yellow. Oh, I love it. So that was a skein that I ordered on Etsy. It was a sort of a dyed to order, and I kind of, yeah, I'm really bad. I order stuff and then completely forget that I've ordered it. But it arrived and it's stunning. So it's another little acquisition. And last but not least, my lovely friend Claire at Bird Street UK and her equally lovely and talented husband, Mr. B, released a kit of their yarn and project bags called the Sheepdog Trials Kit. And it arrived the other day and it's so lovely. I was so thrilled with it. So I'm going to get the bits and bobs out. And I have to say, there were some little chocolates shaped like lambs and a lollipop, but they seem to have disappeared. So I can't share those with you. What I'm going to share with you first of all is the yarn, the sock set, which is, the main colour is Stella Bella, inspired by their beautiful collie, Stella, which is just such a gorgeous skein of yarn. I think it's going to look amazing. I think it would make a really nice cowl actually. And that comes with this little mini, which is called Lamb's Tail. I just think the whole theme of the kit, the whole sheepdog and sheep and lambs, is just really, really clever. So those are the yarns. And then in the kit is the little polymer clay. I don't know if you can see it. It's a bit like one of the Aardman animations, a bit like Shaun the Sheep. It's this little polymer clay sheep progress keeper, and he is just hilarious. Look at his little face. So cute. So, and that was like a little surprise in the kit. So yeah, it was in a little bag, so I didn't know I was actually getting that, so that was really, really cool. And then of course it all came with this beautiful project bag with these amazing sheep. Just got their little faces and their curly fleeces. I think they're amazing, and the curly fabric at the bottom with the lovely pink zip and the pull and the handle as well. So that's just gorgeous, and it's a lovely big size. So I think my next sweater project is going to go in here. And as if that wasn't enough, there's also a DPN cozy as well, with our lovely curly haired or curly fleeced sheep, which I think must be girl sheep because they're very pretty and they've got really pink noses, and so I think they're girly sheep. So thank you, Claire and Mr. B. That was such a lovely, lovely kit. Really enjoyed opening it. Really enjoyed the little lamb chocolates, and just amazing. I think everything you do is fabulous. So I think I'm probably at the end of everything I wanted to share this week. The only thing I wanted to just let you know is that my Etsy shop, which is Bumble Stitches store on Etsy, I have reduced some prices to try and make way, clear the shelves, the virtual shelves of the existing bags that are in the shop, to make way for some exciting new things that are coming into the store soon. So if you fancy having a look, it's Bumble Stitches store on Etsy, and I have taken 25% off the prices of all the project bags in there. So have a little look if you fancy anything. Yes, and I will be working on something new and exciting, and I'm not working on it on my own. I'm not going to say anything more about it other than, yeah, I think you're going to love it. So I've got lots of busy times ahead. So hopefully I'll be back in another 2 weeks. I don't want to jinx it, but I have actually managed to podcast on a 2-weekly basis for the past couple of episodes. So hopefully I can do that too. And in the meantime, enjoy your knitting, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you. Bye.